Everybody, it's Chris over at Dixieland Farm, and today I'm going to be talking about some things you can do to improve the graphics on X-Plane 11. I did not clickbait this title with how to improve X11 over Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. I'm not going to do that to you, and also to my normal viewers, this will probably not be of interest to you. Feel free to not watch this, but there is a product out there, it's free, from SimHeaven called X America, and nobody's made a video about X America, so I will make a video about X America. There's plenty of videos about X Europe, but not X America. So the way X-Plane kind of makes graphics is it uses available data out there from OpenStreetMap and different other places, and kind of figures out, well, in this area there should be a town, in this area there should be suburban kind of buildings, in this area should be rural, in this area should be urban, and kind of makes autogen. It kind of figures out, well, this is where things probably would go next to a road. The roads are where they belong, and so are certain visual things like power lines, and railroads usually are completely accurate, but the houses are just kind of and that's fine. But in comparison to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, which leverages AI and global satellite mapping to accurately put a house right there, and it looks like the house right there, this is where X-Plane 11 kind of falls short. So one thing you can do is you can change the texture of the ground to a satellite picture. That's ortho imagery. You would make the tiles yourself. There are products that you can get for certain areas using Orbix. True Earth, for example, uses that kind of satellite technology where it'll put a picture of the Earth. So when you're flying high, when you look down and there's a Walmart, there's the Walmart, right? Great. But when you're actually coming down, it's still a flat image. So you don't see anything, right? So what X-Plane will do is actually autojet on top of that, which is great. Now you can see 3D buildings, but those 3D buildings are going to be just kind of wherever it thinks, and that's not great. So what was frustrating for me was I would be flying in my local area and I would expect to see a Walmart, and I would see a house or nothing, and I'd see the picture of a Walmart with some trees on top of it, but I'm like, hey, there should be a Walmart there. So this is where another application comes into play, World to X-Plane. It was made several years ago. It is kind of depreciated. As a matter of fact, the developer now works for Orbix. So, and the SimHeaven people, mainly one guy, uses that program and leverages the OSM data that's available. And if there is OSM data available, it will generate the building that it expects to be there. This will do this in X America. So what we're going to do is we're going to load up a flight that I recorded previously at KFRG, Farmingdale, in Farmingdale, Long Island. It's also known as Republic Airport. We're going to fly it just with the autogen, and then we're going to fly it with the X America turned on. I should also note that there's other things you can do that I've done. There's a product called SFD Global, and what that'll do is it'll replace the textures where you don't have ortho to something that's prettier. It will replace the buildings that are generated with something that is prettier, and it will put in some landmarks, things like that. Well worth the $30 that you can buy it for on xplane.org. And there's also a product called Extreme Trees that I run. What this will do is, instead of it just kind of guessing where trees go, it uses forest and satellite data to put trees exactly where they are. So if there's a group of trees, it'll put the trees. And the reason why that's important is because X-Plane will just kind of dump trees in the middle of anywhere, like a coastline. And when you're looking at a satellite imagery of a beach, and then all of a sudden there's trees on that beach, it's just kind of weird. So using a product like that is a good thing, but that information is actually available already in SimHeaven X America, so I don't know if you have to purchase it. I've already purchased it, so I'm going to be using it. But I think you can just use SimHeaven. So matter of fact, I will disable it. And let me show you my scenerypacks.ini, which is in the custom scenery folder. One tip that SimHeaven had is make a couple of empty directories, which I've done here. And when you're doing your scenery packs.ini, they'll show up and you can use them as separators. What a great idea. One thing I forgot to mention with this product is X-America is actually North America, Central America, and South America. So that includes all of the Caribbean as well. And not only that, there's also two other products that you can download, VFR aerials and VFR landmarks. And what both of those do is adds a lot more cell towers and antennas that are in real life where they are, which definitely helps with the immersion. And landmarks are different landmarks throughout the world. Like the Hollywood sign, it adds the stadium in Charlotte where I normally fly around. So little things like that. So small downloads, you might as well add them as well. So you can see I've got my custom airports, some that I've built, some that I've downloaded. The stock airports, Orbix, I have Orbix True Earth Florida, Forest and AutoGen, that's where we're going to be dealing with it. And then I've got external lights. So one thing that I've noticed is that when you're flying at night, the way X-Plane will generate the lights is fine, but after a certain distance, it just won't put in lights, but it will put in the airport. So you'll see like you'll see lights, then kind of a void, and then all the way in the distance, you see like the airport clearly, and that's just not accurate. So this external lights file, which is free from the forum on xplane.org, will put in much more night lighting, and we'll get rid of that. So definitely worth installing, I think. So let's go back. So to turn scenery on and off, you just change the word scenery pack to scenery pack disabled. And the order of the scenery does matter. Airports go on top, right? Because those are the most important. And then your custom sceneries come next. And then I put my libraries, and then you put in the ortho scenery and overlays at the bottom. When you first install custom scenery, when you put it in a folder and you start up X-Plane and you get to the startup screen, it will put all those entries all the way at the top. But then you need to exit X-Plane, go in and put them in the correct order. So that's where those separators really come into play. And like I said, you can swap scenery in and out very easily. So for this whole section here, we're just going to go pack disabled and replace them. And so now all that scenery is turned off. So we're going to be looking at just stock scenery. Okay, so here we go with the flight. We're taking off from Farmingdale. We've got a lot of buildings here. Looking good so far. As we look off into the distance here, a lot of trees, a lot of suburbia. Fairly flat. You can see we got trees showing up over the satellite imagery, like I said. I can show you the quality of the houses here. We'll turn on SFD Global to see what that does. So here is SFD Global, and you can see that the buildings are a little prettier now. We can see that the trees are fuller. All the detail on the roof that we didn't have before. So you can see much prettier houses than we had previously. Now we're going to load up Sim Heaven X America. The one thing you'll notice is that I've actually disabled group number 6, AutoGen. What that does is that allows any places where there isn't data to let the X-Plane auto generation of objects come through. So, for example, in North Carolina, where I live, there is some very spotty data. So that allows more stuff to show up. You see the distance here. All of those buildings weren't there before. And it's much more filled in, much more populated. You can see that we've got satellite pictures here, but we don't have trees stuck in the middle of them anymore, using those forest exclusions that X-America provides. These trees in the parking lot are on purpose. That's why they're all lined up like that. So you can see just the density is way improved. And that definitely looks more like Long Island. With all of that stuff, more variety of buildings, more business or commercial buildings. The one thing X-America does is it puts in these huge Gothic churches. Now you can edit the library.txt file and get rid of that. I've actually tamed it down some, but I still have some work to do because for America that's fairly unusual to have huge churches. Yeah, there's another one. So I'll tame those down. But now we have gas stations and strip malls that we didn't have before. That doesn't come with the AutoGen, and that doesn't come with the SFD Global either. And if we pan into Nassau County here, you can see the density way increases of just stuff. And that is JFK that we're looking at back there. So from this vantage point, I think we can agree that this looks pretty impressive. And when you're in the plane itself, I think that looks great. And for a free product, it's just great. As a matter of fact, you can donate to the author, and I certainly plan on doing that. And it's a minimal frame rate hit here. We're got 44 frames, and like I said, we're actually getting a big hit because of me recording right now. Normally I'm closer to 60 or 70 frames a second. And like I said, this just looks fantastic, and I think it can give Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 a run for its money in regards to graphics. Plus, I think we can also say that X-Plane excels in the actual job of simulating flight, which is why we're flying a flight simulator. 2020 is great at graphics, and its aerodynamics not so much. Hopefully that'll improve. Some say that the only reason why 2020 was even built was to show off that mapping technology, and they just kind of threw in a flight simulator on top of that to justify doing the work. Great product. I would definitely try it out, and if you like the work, donate to the author, so that way he knows that people care, and maybe he'll continue the work and improve the product even further. So, from Dixieland Farm, take care, everybody.